Okay, so for the Calculus 2 class, I want to do 9.7 and 9.8, and then we'll be done, okay? So next week I'll start asking you to submit pictures of your homework problems. So here's some problems from 9.7. You can pick 5 of them. This is about Taylor polynomials, all right? So what a Taylor polynomial is this is the formula, and it's very straightforward, okay? This is not an exponent, it's a derivative. So we're taking a function f, and we're taking the derivative. You know, you have to be able to take it up to n derivatives, right? It has to be a differentiable function. And we have on the bottom, so remember that 0 factorial is 1, so this will work with the first one. Now, these Taylor polynomials, they have a center, okay? And the center is the point that the polynomial sort of expands around. The best way to illustrate this is to go on YouTube. Well, I guess you're already on YouTube, and look up Taylor polynomial animations, okay? And they'll show you, it shows you like it'll start with n equals 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and you'll see that the Taylor polynomial approximates a function over a wider and wider domain, but it's always around this center C. Okay? So here's a formula, just real quick, you know, let's try one. Number 19, okay, that's one of them. F of x there is going to be sine x, okay. They are asking you for a Maclaurin polynomial. So C is 0, and they're asking you for n equals pi. All right. So just to illustrate how to use this formula and how to get this thing going, okay. You know, let's look at n here, okay. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hopefully we'll get some kind of a pattern set up. Okay, so f of x, that's going to be the 0th derivative, right? So we've already got that, okay? So we're going to have f of x at here. So let's let n be 0. So we're going to have sine 0, okay? X minus c, so that's going to be x minus 0 to the 0 power over 0 factorial. Okay, so sine 0, that's 0, right? X minus 0, that's just going to be x. X to the 0, so this will be 1 times 0, which is 0, over 1. Okay, so this is 0 over 1, so it's defined, all right? Can't have, you know, terms that aren't defined, right? So our first term is going to be 0. So what if n is 1? Okay, well, we're going to, the first derivative of this function, right, which is going to be cosine of 0, okay? Then we're going to have x minus 0 to the 1, and it's going to be over 1 factorial. So cosine 0 is 1, x minus 0 is x to the 1 over 1. So this is 1x over 1, so this is 1 x, or just x, over 1, it's just x, okay? So our first term that has an actual non-zero term is going to be x. Okay? So if n is 2, then what do we need? We need the derivative of this. The derivative of cosine is negative sine of 0. Now we don't care too much about the rest of this because sine 0 is 0, so this term is going to be 0, right? Okay, when n is 3, what do we get? The derivative of sine is cosine, but it's got this negative in front, right? So it's going to be negative cosine 0, okay? X minus 0 cubed over 3 factorial. So this is negative 1. This is just x cubed over 3 factorial. So this is going to be negative x cubed over 3 factorial, okay? If you do this, you're going to see that the next one's going to be, actually the derivative of cosine is negative sine, and it's got a negative in front of it, so it's going to be positive sine, okay, but it's going to be 0, right? And then the next one is going to be the derivative of positive sine, which is going to be negative cosine, so the next one is going to be, wait a minute, so we've got the derivative of cosine is negative sine, negative is positive, right? Yeah, so it's going to be positive sine, yes? And then the derivative of sine is cosine. The derivative of sine is cosine, so the next term is going to be positive, right? That term is supposed to be positive. So it's going to be positive, so it's going to be x to the 5th over 5 factorial. I think you can see what's going on here, right? So now, you know, it's kind of an exercise to put this thing together and write it as a series. So if you write this as a series, you can let I equals 0. Okay, so the first term is positive, negative 1 to the I. So negative 1 to the 0 would be positive. So the second term is negative, so that would be our second term. Our third term would be positive, because the third one would be 2, right? Since we're starting at 0. So this will give us the signs over there, okay? Then here we just have x to the what? Here it's to the 1, and then it's to the 3, and that's the second term. So this is going to be 2 I plus 1. Because the second term is going to be I equals 1, right? 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3, okay? Over 2I plus 1 factorial. Let's see if that'll give us the 5 there as our third term, okay? So this will be 0, 1, 2. So it'll be 2, right? So it'll be positive. It's positive. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5, x to the 5th, and we've got, okay, so this works, right? So this will give you the Maclaurin polynomial for sin x, all right? So try a few of these, you know. You can pick 5, have one of them ready for next week. If you have any questions, send me an email, and I'll go into it in greater depth.